Greetings, fellow scientists. My name is Jesse, and I'm a member of the Saskatchewan Science Center's Go Science Outreach team. Today, we are going to be heading into the depths as we dissect a squid. Now, before we begin our dissection, let's learn a little bit about squids. A squid is a type of animal that's called an invertebrate. Invertebrates are animals that do not have backbones, so there's no spine. A squid is also qualified as an animal that is called a mollusk. And other types of things that would be classified as mollusks would be things like snails or possibly clams or octopi or octopuses or octopodes. Squids have a really cool anatomy. And we're going to learn a little bit more about squids by dissecting one. Now, to safely dissect a squid, I'm going to try to be as careful as possible, and I'm going to use some really special tools. These tools are going to be really important for us to kind of learn a little bit about so we know what we need to do to be safe. So today we are going to be using some scissors, some tweezers or forceps they're called. We're going to be using a scalpel. We have some dissection pins. And lastly, we have probes. Now, probes are going to be really important because they're going to act kind of like our fingers, where we can point out all the different things about a squid, and they allow us to be able to do some really important things, like keep our finger safe if we're making a cut. So probes are very important. Now that we have all of our supplies, let's get started. All right. So first, let's take a look at our squid and try to get a sense for the different parts of its body. Now, the eyes of the squid, we have one right down here, and then we have another one on the other side of the squid, right over here. These are actually quite large for an invertebrate animal. So squids, they have really, really big eyes. Now, this up here, with fin attached to it, is a part of the squid that's called the mantle. And what the mantle is, it's kind of like the main body of the squid. The squid actually has two main parts. It has the mantle, which is this part right up here, and it has the head, which is down here. If we take a look at our head of our squid, we can also see it has all of these arms down here. So it has a bunch of short little arms, and then it has two really long tentacles. So not everything down here is a tentacle. These are all arms, and these are tentacles. Now, a squid is a type of animal that's called a cephalopod. And basically what a cephalopod means is that it's a Latin word that means head-foot. So we have our head right here, and it has its feet or its arms attached directly to it. So that's why it's called a cephalopod. Now, if we were to stretch out all of these arms and feet, we can see that they have lots and lots of these little tiny suckers on them. And these suckers are really good because what they do is they allow the squid to latch onto and hold the prey, as well as help feed the prey towards its mouth. The mouth is right here in the middle of all those arms. Let me put down the probe. We'll just hold that up so we can see. This right down here is the squid mouth. Now, inside the squid mouth, there is a structure in there that's called the beak, kind of like a bird beak. It's very strong and it's very sharp, and it allows the squid to be able to break down its food into smaller and smaller pieces. Now, one other thing I want to point out on the outside of the squid here is actually, let me just turn our squid a little bit, right here. This right here is what we call the water jet, and it's what allows the squid to propel itself around so well. The squid will take in water, and it'll push it out through this jet. And as it turns its body and its mantle, it's actually able to direct itself around. So this is its little water jet that helps it be propelled around inside the water. Now, to begin our dissection, we are actually, let me flatten our squid back out here. Whoop. There we go. We are going to be taking our scissors, and we're going to be cutting right along here as far as we can go. Then we're going to pin down the mantle on either side so we can see all of its internal organs and get a sense for how it kind of operates. So we're going to grab our scissors here, and we're going to just get them snuck underneath. I'm going to grab a pair of tweezers here so I can get a little bit of a better grip in there. And you can see the scissors do a really good job of cutting through the mantle. Now we want to be careful. There are lots of organs that we want to point out on the inside there. And we want to make sure we don't actually damage any of them by accident. We might already have, so we want to be really careful. I'm going to take a couple more snips here. And right about there. And we should be able to get our mantle to open up wide. It seems to be just a little bit still sticking. There we go. All right. So with those, we are going to fold back our squid here. There we go. Got a couple of connective tissues, and that's okay. We're going to push a pin in here so it stays open. We'll put a pin down here. And now on the other side. Oh. Grab our probe, and we're going to try just loosening some of this tissue. There we go. So as we get rid of all that tissue, we're able to get into the inside of our squid. So we'll take one pin, put it there, do another snip. And put our last pin right over here. There we go. So, it seems that we have quite the cool looking squid here. Now, some of this brown fluid that we're seeing here is likely fluid that comes out of this digestion of the squid. So things like its stomach and its internal organs will lend towards that. In fact, let's take a peek here. You know what? I think we're going to flip our squid over. We're going to see the other side of the squid. So I'm going to actually, what's the best way to do this? Just trim in here. And we'll just flip our guy right over. There we go. So by flipping it over, we should be able to see all of the organs we want to see. There we go. So, took a little bit, but we got there. So if we take a look on the inside here, we can see all kinds of neat little things here. One of the first and most famous parts of the squid that we're actually going to be able to see is this black part right here. Now this black part right here is called the ink sac. And what it does is it holds a special liquid called ink that the squid can actually push out and void when it wants to make a getaway or try to escape an enemy or try to not become prey. And what it does is it'll get all pushed out and into the water. It'll actually create almost like a smoke screen, like a camouflage that allows our squid to be able to make that getaway. So we have our ink sac right there. On either side of our ink sac, we can see these little organs right here. This will be part of the digestive system of our squid. Up here at the top, we are seeing no sign of an egg sac. So that means that we have a male squid today. If we take a look over to the sides, we can see this right here and this right here. These are the gills of our squid. And what the gills do is it allows our squid to be able to take in water, filter it through, and it will actually take oxygen directly out of the water itself. So our squid doesn't need to come up to the surface to be able to breathe. It's able to actually just use these right here to get the oxygen right out of the water. So we have all of those. We're going to take a really quick look. We're going to see what the ink will actually look like. To do that, I'm going to grab our scalpel here. And we want to be very careful when we're operating with a scalpel. So I'm going to use the probe over here to act as a fake finger for ourselves here. And we're going to try to just cut this layer of the ink sac. Let's see here. So as we cut that, there we go. We're going to see if we can squeeze out some of that ink, or find some of that ink. So we have a preserved squid here. And because our squid is preserved, we can see that we get some of the ink to be very kind of grainy. So our ink right here, if it was in the water, would spread itself out and create that smoke screen. But just because of the process here, it's a little bit more sandy or a little bit more coarse than what we would normally expect. Now, the last thing that I want to kind of point out is a very special part of the squid that we call the pen. And what the pen is it's a part of the mantle that allows it to have the structure it actually maintains. So if we take a look over here to the side, ooh, got a little bit of juices there. We have this structure right here. So this is a rigid structure, and it helps the squid maintain its form as it's actually propelling through the water. So it's not super floppy, it helps it maintain its shape. So we're going to try to remove the pen. We've already managed to get some of it to detach there, but we're going to try to get the rest of it in one piece. We're going to use our forceps. We're going to reach in. We're going to try pulling out as much of that pen as possible. And we didn't quite get it all. So we managed to get quite a bit of it. But this pen has a rigid, kind of bendy quality to it. If we tried really hard, we could break it in half. But this helps our squid maintain its very rigid kind of form. You can see part of the pen didn't come out, just down here, and it goes all the way to the bottom. So that is really, really cool. Well, with that, that is it for our dissection today. Thank you so much for joining us today for our deep sea dissection. You can check out other really cool videos by heading to SaskScienceCenter.com. Till next time, stay curious, fellow scientists.